Hello ladies and frogs, and welcome back to another video. So I know I've spoken a couple times before about how Wattpad was my first ever social media account, and I got really into writing stories and creating characters and doing story building and all that fun stuff. So today's video is going to be based on that. I get nostalgic every now and then, and I like to go back and read all of my old stories from back in that era of mine, and I was rereading my first ever story that I ever wrote. And it's so embarrassing, it's super cringy, but I thought, hey, what if I redesigned the character if I were to make the story today? So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We are going to be drawing out the main character for my first ever story as I described her in the book, and then we're going to redesign her like I would today. And I promise it's going to be a wild ride because I did not create great characters back then, I promise you guys. So I'm not going to yap too much, just wanted to give you guys a quick descriptor on the video. So without further ado, let's get started. So in order to draw the character as accurate as possible, I had to read this story from start to finish. I believe there were about 27 chapters, and I never actually ended up finishing the story. Unfortunately, being 12 to 13 at the time of writing this, I was not a very good writer, and therefore some of this was left up to interpretation. But to fill in the blanks, I thought a lot about my 12-year-old self and what I thought I would have wanted back then. I also paused reading very frequently to take notes on her characteristics, outfit choices, and bits about her personality to make sure I captured the character as accurately as I could. So this is where it gets fun, because being a 12-year-old that's way too into anime, this girl fell into a lot of stereotypical tropes. The main one being that she was a very petite-looking young adult. And that is my polite way of saying that she was literally just a loli. I literally just described her as a loli. She was described as looking very childlike. One character even referred to her as looking like a 10-year-old before he found out her actual age, which was 16. This is where I started with the redesign, but we'll go more into that later. So this character's name is Cora Ravenswood. She's a 16-year-old wizard. And if you haven't noticed by now, by that tiny little speck below her left eye, she's a fairy tale OC. The book was an OC X-canon fanfiction about a romance between Cora and my biggest, fattest crush of all time, Grateful Buster. But hold on to your seats though, because that's not even the best part. She's an Infinity Dragon Slayer. I'll give you guys a moment to guess what her magic is. Did you guess? If you assumed that being an Infinity Dragon Slayer meant that she can use any magic ever at any time, you are 100% correct. She was the complete definition of a Mary Sue. She had all the powers ever. She won every fight unless the loss meant Grey would swoop in and save the day. And everyone had a crush on her, including Loxus, for some reason, which I don't even know why I did that because I don't even like Loxus. But whatever, I digress. She's described in the book as a very rude and blunt character, with a chip on her shoulder and like a super short temper. Also, for some reason, her powers gave her the ability to shrink her cutie mark. Cutie mark? Her fairy tale symbol. So it's right under her left eye and it's super teeny tiny. I don't know why that was necessary. I could have put it literally anywhere else. In the book, I also only described her as having 2 specific outfits, so you can see me drawing her in those now. And for these boots, I had to change them because I was 12 years old and I didn't know what a dog whistle was. And I ended up giving her black boots with red laces, which if you don't know is a very big dog whistle for something I don't even want to name in the video. I had to change it, you guys. I'm sorry. I know it sucks for the sake of consistency, but I didn't even want anyone to misunderstand. So I chose to not include it. Sorry. Now, moving on to her redesign. I love her redesign. I'm starting this off by saying I'm very biased to her redesign. I love it so much. I did not like the original design at all, obviously. So my first course of action was to keep her petite build, but make her look like an adult. Because nowadays, if I were to design a fairy tale OC, I would 100% make them grown. I would not make a teenager. I wouldn't make a kid. I definitely would not make a petite looking adult. So you can see that I am keeping the petite body type. She's still very small looking, she's slender, but she looks grown. And you can see there, I was doing some side-by-side comparisons. I ended up copy and pasting the eyes because I really liked the way they turned out, and I didn't see a point in redrawing them. Now, for this redesign, the most trouble I had was the hair. Obviously, I know back then when I wrote this book, I would have wanted my character to have a very stereotypical, spiky, anime style hair, but nowadays, I really love realistic, or more realistic, I guess, looking hairstyles. I really like blunt bangs, I like shaggy cuts, and she was described in the book as a tomboy. She didn't like wearing dresses, so I didn't think the long hair would suit her. So you can see me brainstorming and troubleshooting and trying to figure out what I wanted. I didn't want to give her the stereotypical anime spiky bangs, but I also didn't want to give her the basic blunt bangs that I give every character. So you can see that I actually take a pause on this hairstyle for a minute and I move on to different aspects of the piece. I actually changed the location of her cutie mark to above her right hip, I believe, and I was troubleshooting her outfit a little bit. One thing I noticed when designing the original was that I gave her absolutely no jewelry whatsoever. So, I immediately had to give my girl a couple necklaces. I gave her a totally different outfit. I kept the shorts, and I did debate for a while on keeping the thigh highs, but I ended up really liking the way she looked in sandals, and I didn't really want to troubleshoot further than that. So, no thigh highs, just the shorts. I did keep the red, white, and black color scheme, but I tried to make it look a bit more cohesive and not just copy and pasting the same colors over and over again. I also did want to give her a second outfit since I drew the original design in 2 outfits, so you can see me here troubleshooting a second outfit to give her. I didn't end up using this one, not because I didn't like it. I think the outfit is super, super cute. I just didn't really think it went with the character all that well, so you can see later on that I end up choosing a different outfit to go with instead. Right here is when I really started locking into the hair. I was looking up references on Pinterest. I was trying to figure out what I would have wanted. So I ended up trying to compromise by going with a shaggy, spiky kind of hairdo. Not the blunt bangs, kind of anime, but a little more realistic. And in the book, she was described at one point as having pigtails. I didn't draw her in them. So I figured for the redesign, I would go ahead and give her a pair of pigtails in one outfit, and then I would give her loose hair in the other. I know that color's jarring. Hold on, pause, stay with me here, you guys. You wouldn't know this, but in the story, she has siblings, and they are presumed dead at the beginning of the book, but later on you find out that they're alive and they reconnect. And the siblings are all described as having this dark red, maroon colored hair. So I didn't think it made sense for Cora to be the only one with black hair. So I chose to give her red hair to match her siblings. And I also gave her this cute yellowish ombre at the end, just for visual interest, not much else. I still think it's pretty cohesive. I like the color scheme better. I think she's a much more interesting looking character. You can see I gave her a bit of a tan. I did not make her paper white like her original design was. It didn't say anything about her skin tone in the book, but it's heavily implied based off of the type of kid I was and the type of art that I drew back then that she would have been paper white. So for her redesign, I gave her tanner skin. You can see me adding a pattern to her overshirt. And I really like the way this first outfit came out. I really, really do. You can see I kind of juggled back and forth with maybe giving her a full black outfit, but I really didn't want to stray too much from the character. And right there, look it, right there. You guys saw it. I undid it, but you guys saw it. I finally decided on magic for her. It took me forever because I originally wanted to keep her as a dragon slayer, but I could not figure out a dragon slayer magic to give her that was not already being used or that was not ridiculously overpowered. So instead, I chose to give her maker magic. I'm still debating on whether or not I want to give her celestial keys because she also had those in the book. I might want to give her both. Who knows? For this outfit, I chose to take inspiration from the second outfit of her original design. She's described as having a long sleeve black shirt with black and red stripes on it. And I didn't want to just straight up copy the outfit, but I did want to give homage to it. So I ended up giving her this off-the-shoulder dress with black and red stripes. And this is actually a very common dress. I've seen it everywhere. And instead of giving her white jeans like she had in the original one, I ended up giving her black leggings because I thought it was a bit more cohesive. And of course, I did not color the laces red because that would have been weird. So I really like the way this outfit turned out. I'm not going to lie to you. It's kind of my favorite one. I really, really liked the first one a lot. But then I drew this one and I drew her hair down and she looks so cute. And right here, she kind of looks like Marceline. And that was when I really, really started questioning whether or not I wanted to give her black hair. But I did end up doing it and it's fine. So the redesign is just about finished. Obviously, we can see here, very childlike. She literally looks like a kid. You know, not much going on with her, you know? But the redesign, ooh, she's fine. She's fine. 10 out of 10. I love the way that this design turned out. I really, really do. Oh my God, what kind of horrible, terrible person interrupts a video in the middle of a speed paint to talk about themselves? How selfish. It's me, sorry. In all seriousness, I do want to sit down with you guys off script and talk a little bit about some issues I'm having in my personal life that I could really use some help on. So if you would be willing to sit and talk with me for a second, I'd super appreciate it. I don't want to get super into the details here because obviously I want this to be a super fun, lighthearted video. If you want the specifics and the real nitty-gritty of it, I went ahead and posted a Google Doc on my Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok explaining the situation. The long and short of it is that, as a lot of you know, I moved across the state last year and it was super exciting. But a lot of issues have arisen in the year that I've been here. The main one being that the landlords that I signed a lease with lied about a lot of things. The main lie being that there was a pest issue in this apartment before I moved in. It was a question I explicitly asked them before signing the lease because I have lived places with pest issues before and I did not want to deal with it again. I asked them if there were any issues with bugs or mice or anything of the sort, and they explicitly said no to me. I signed the lease, and then a few days later, they admitted that there was an ongoing bedbug issue in the building. At that point, it was already too late for me to back out of the lease, so I figured it probably wasn't that bad anyways if they didn't think to mention it the first time. But it was indeed that bad, and it has only gotten worse the longer that I've been here. I believe the first couple months I had it pretty easy because nobody had been in my apartment for a couple months at that point, so the bedbugs had all gone elsewhere. But now that I have settled in and I'm more comfortable in my home, they are everywhere. It is super rough. While filming this video alone, have killed like 10 of them just crawling on my desk. The maintenance people who are in charge of treating for these bedbugs have openly admitted on multiple occasions that they know the treatments aren't doing anything. They know they're not treating correctly, and they know that the bedbugs won't go away, and they don't plan on doing anything to change it. So basically just tough it up and deal with it, right? Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know if I'm going to cut that out or not. As I was talking, a bedbug was crawling on my hand and I got the heebie-jeebies. I don't know where it went. It flew. Not flew. I flew it off of me. I don't know where it went. Oh my goodness. Is that it right there? That was it. Yucky. I don't know if I'm going to cut that out. I'm so sorry. Anyways, on top of the bedbugs, it has been recently confirmed that they found roaches in my neighbor's apartment. And the roaches from where I live are not just, a palmetto bug or, a roach that snuck in somewhere. The roaches we have are exclusively the infestation kind, meaning that because one was spotted, it means we have an infestation. There is no doubt. So now we have 2 infestations going on at the same time, and seeing as maintenance has already admitted that they do not treat correctly, I do not see why this roach problem would be any different. On top of the bug issues, there's a lot of safety issues. I have had 3 attempted break-ins since I've lived here. I am scared to leave my house because every time I do, I have people making unwanted advances or saying weird things to me or approaching me, and it makes me feel really anxious about leaving my house. So I have not left my house in 3 months. I get my groceries delivered. I do not hang out with friends. I don't do anything. I sit in my house and I edit videos and I draw all day, which is why I'm streaming so often, if you guys were curious. All of this to say, I would like to move out. I would like to move out. My lease is up in October and I would super like to move. I am not currently in a position to pack up everything and leave. Of course, with the bed bugs being the way that they are and the infestation being as bad as it is, I will have to throw away everything I own, which super sucks. So I'll have to not only find a new place to live, not only save up enough money for a deposit, but I will also have to buy everything brand new. So I am opening up commissions. My VGen is going to be linked in the description if you guys are interested in commissioning me. If you don't want to commission and you just want to help out, I made a Ko-Fi goal or a coffee goal. It is called Help Me Move. So I will also have my coffee listed in the description below if anyone is willing to help out with that. I would super appreciate the help. If you can't donate any money, that is totally chill. You can go ahead and go over to my Instagram and share my most recent post to your story, or comment to help boost the post a little bit. You can do the same on Twitter or TikTok. Anywhere helps. Obviously, I super hate to ask, and I also super hate being this vulnerable on the internet, but I wanted you guys to understand that I would not ask if it was not important. So like I said, my coffee and my VGen are both linked in the description if you guys want to help in any way. I appreciate anybody who does help, and I still appreciate people who don't. I just appreciate you guys for sitting here and listening to me rant for a second. Enough yapping about bugs. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get back to the speed paint. Thank you for listening. So for this last little bit of the video, I'm actually not going to do any talking. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys sit and just watch the speed paint in all of its glory. I'm also not going to ramble at the end of this video either, since I rambled in the middle of it this time instead. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys next week. I know I said last week I was going to do a Q&A. I did not get enough questions in, so I'm going to do it next week instead. I promise. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!